So I'm out in the ASICS Gel Kayano 31s. They are a stability shoe, but offering max cushion. Absolutely love that. They feel terrific on foot. And I'm giving that ASICS grip quite a workout today. It's a snowy day here in Michigan. It's about 20 degrees Fahrenheit. And the real feel is in the single digits because of the wind, blowing snow, and all that kind of good stuff. I'm gonna get back into this workout, and we're gonna talk a lot more about the ASICS Gel Kayano 31 when I get back from this run. All right, so I am back from my run, and what a really fun run that it was. I just logged some really easygoing daily training miles in the Kayano 31s today. So I have over 120 miles on these shoes, somewhere around that ballpark anyway. And I first ran in these, it was in the summer months, so it was quite a bit different than it was out there today. It was like 80 degrees, I think, when I first ran in these shoes. And since that time, I've put a few miles in them on a treadmill, and then, of course, out in the colder weather like today. Now, before I get into it too far, I do want to welcome you to the channel. If you're brand new here, welcome to the Run Tall family. I'm really glad that you are here and you found us on YouTube. Now, I post running videos all the time about running shoe reviews, training recovery, and gear reviews. So if you're into that kind of thing, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel. It's free to do, and it really does help out. And I do want to get a disclosure out of the way. So I did purchase these with my own money, so no one sent them to me for the purpose of review. No one's paying me to make this video. No one's telling me what to say, and no one from ASICS or anyplace else has an opportunity to preview my thoughts before I share them with you first here on YouTube. Okay, so if this is the first video that you've ever seen on the Gel Kayano 31, they are a max cushion, max stability shoe. And I would say that, when it comes to max cushion, lots of times when I've reviewed stability shoes in the past, I would say they're max cushion compared to other stability shoes. But in this case, I would say that they're just plain out max cushion. So they're really soft. So they rival other neutral shoes that are out there that are also max cushion. So ASICS did a really good job with that. And now they're using their 4D guidance system for their pronation control. They also have the other piece of tech that they have in here is some pure gel that's in the heel. All right, so that out of the way, kind of set the stage for us. We're going to take a real close look at the upper, and we're going to talk about the midsole, outsole, all that kind of stuff. And since we have over 100 miles on these shoes, we'll be looking for any kind of durability issues that might have come up. But more importantly, we're going to just talk about what it's like to run in these and whether or not I think that they're worth the money that they're asking for them, and whether or not I might buy them again. And this is coming from somebody who benefits from running in stability shoes. All right, so let's start with the upper. They're using an engineered mesh upper. It's really comfortable, and most running shoes, if you look at the descriptions out there, that's what they say, right? Engineered mesh uppers. But what does that really mean? Well, some of those are somewhat of a plastic feel to them, and they aren't super comfortable, especially if you get in the racing types of shoes. But these have a more of a cloth-like feel to them, so they're really soft, and you can see that they've held up really well, other than being a little dirty, right? So just from running in them, I got a little bit of dirt here or there. I tried to clean them up for the video, but you do the best you can. But there aren't any rips or tears, no real signs of wear any place on the upper. So it's durable, and you're gonna get your money's worth out of it in terms of the amount of time you're going to be able, amount of miles in time that you're going to be able to put in these shoes. So I don't have any question about the durability of the upper. It does have a little bit of stretch to it, so you can see as I kind of pull on the material across the toe box, that's really accommodating. So if you're putting in some longer miles, especially in the summer months when your feet might have a tendency to swell, you've got a little extra give there. I should mention sizing. Since we're talking about the upper, for me, I ordered a US men's size 9, and that's typically what I wear when I buy running shoes, and these fit me perfect. They fit me perfect. So in terms of the length as well as the width. So I would order true to size. And I would do that again in the future if I were to purchase these shoes a second time. So take it for what it is. You kind of got to go with your own personal experience. If you're, it's tough if you're kind of in between sizes to know whether to go up or down. But I would say whatever you normally do, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. Okay, so the upper, while it's got all these perforations, because look at all those perforations. They look like big holes up here in the toe box. They aren't highly breathable. I would say they're moderately breathable. In fact, I'm going to kick it out to myself here real quick and I had shared a few of the thoughts when I was out running in them, just kind of wrapping up the workout about the upper and its breathability. So let's just take a listen. So something worth mentioning as I'm starting to wrap up this run today is in the summer when I first reviewed these, I talked about the upper being somewhat breathable, kind of in that moderate range, and that might come in handy on colder days like today, and that is absolutely true. As I mentioned, it's about 20 degrees Fahrenheit right now, so well below freezing, and my feet are comfortable. My feet are comfortable. Yeah, so I appreciate that. I think that makes these shoes a good, all-around versatile shoe. Summer, winter, spring, and fall here in Michigan. Okay, as I mentioned, they're really comfortable out there in cooler weather, and that is one of the things that I think makes these shoes pretty versatile if you live in an area where you have different climates that you have to contend with. For me in the summer months, it can be well in the 90s. We're talking about 90 degrees Fahrenheit and above sometimes, so it can be pretty sweltering or very, very hot, but it can also be extremely cold. Now, the run that I was on, that I did a little bit of the filming on that I'm sharing with you today, was about 20 degrees Fahrenheit, but this coming week it's going to be negative degrees Fahrenheit out there. They're talking about -3 degrees, something like that, so well below freezing. So it's kind of nice to have a shoe that's versatile enough that you can wear it in the summer. Yes, your feet might get a little bit warm, but not overly warm, but you can still wear them in the winter and be comfortable. Your feet are going to stay warm. You're not going to have frozen toes at the end of it. So it's a bit of a trade-off, but I think that as a daily training shoe, that's what you want. You want some versatility. Okay. Those perforations do continue on all the way back to about the heel cup there, but they get much smaller, and you can kind of see those right around that ASICS logo there on the side of the shoe. But didn't have any comfort issues with the upper at all. The lace enclosure system, it's just a standard system. Not much more to say about that other than it works. I felt locked in and secure across my midfoot all the way back through to my heel cup. The one thing I will mention though about the lace enclosure system are the laces themselves. I'm not a fan. I'm really not a fan. They're very cloth-like, which is fine, but they seem kind of cheap and not necessarily very durable. If you have pets like I do, if you've been on the channel before, you know that we have 4 cats in the house with a kitten. So 4 all together, including the kitten. And my kitten likes to play with my laces, and she kind of chewed them up a little bit. Right, so they're not kitten proof. But anyway, so that would be my only gripe. You spend $165 on a pair of shoes. You want it to feel like you got some quality laces. I mean, that's the least expensive part of the whole shoe, I would imagine. And so you would think that you could have a slightly better lace, and the laces are a little bit long. So I do typically run with the runner's nut, which can take up a little bit more of the length of the lace. But even with that and double knotting the shoes, these lace loops tend to hang down quite far. And the other thing that I'll note is that my feet don't take up a lot of volume in shoes, and that's just the way that I am, this way that I'm built. So oftentimes, because my foot doesn't necessarily fill up the entire volume of the shoe like it might for others, I oftentimes get some puckering at the start of the lace enclosure system, and that was definitely the case here, but not terrible. In fact, I would say it's probably one of the better fitting shoes that way, that running shoes that I have worn in recent times. So The tongue is gusseted, and it does have a pass-through, so you can run your laces through there. You don't necessarily need to do that to hold it in place because the gussets do a really good job of holding it in place, so I didn't have the tongue migrating around. I didn't have any issues with that at all. I had zero issues putting the shoe on my foot. And one of the things that I was a little concerned about when I first pulled these out of the box is the length of the tongue, because it looked like when you run with a runner's knot, oftentimes those laces come up a little bit higher, and they can sometimes even come over the top of the tongue if the tongue isn't the correct length. But this one is spot on. I was afraid that that might be the case here, but it wasn't. It fit perfect. Not too long, not too short. They got it right. And it's moderately padded. So it's not an overly stuffed tongue, but kept me really comfortable. I never felt like the laces were cutting across the top of my midfoot at all. And again, even over time, I felt like I continued to get a secure locked-in feeling. So didn't have any change with that over the miles that I put in them. They have a nice amount of padding around the heel collar and the tab of the shoe. Really comfortable on my Achilles when I was running. And it's kind of this pillow style of padding, so it kind of rests mainly at the top and then tapers down into the footbed, which creates a nice big heel pocket for your heel to sit in. But I didn't feel sloppy at all. I felt really locked in and secure the entire time that I've been running in these. So they did a really good job there keeping that comfort and allowing you to still stay locked in the heel. They also have this pull tab in the back, and you can see that it's got a little bit of stretch to it. These are very functional, and I've used them every time that I've went to put these shoes on my feet, so they work really well. The heel counter here is got a lot of structure to it, and so normally I like to put it up on my shoulder here like I have, and I kind of give it this pinch test. So I just take my fingers and try to pinch it together, and there is a lot of structure there, so it holds your heel in really well, and it gives you that added bit of stability feeling to these shoes. So that's definitely one feature, but it's only one of several features that this shoe does have. And that brings us down to the midsole, which is oftentimes my favorite part of the shoe, because that seems to be, for me anyway, about 90% of the comfort when I run is in the midsole and how I strike the ground and how much force that it absorbs and that kind of thing. So the gel in the heel works really well. Now, I'm typically not a heel striker, so I'll just tell you that right up front. I typically mid to foot strike the ground when I'm running, and these feel really good. They have a lot of their Flight Foam Blast Plus midsole foam here. They've got 40 millimeters in the heel and 30 millimeters up in the forefoot of the shoe, so it's that 10 millimeter offset. And then embedded within the Flight Foam Blast Plus material is their pure gel, as I mentioned, in the heel, and that 4D guidance system that's here that helps. That's what creates your pronation control. And it does a really good job. Of that. It's very adaptive, and it's just a lot of fun to run in for a stability shoe. You can't always say that when you're talking about stability shoes, that they're fun to run in, but this one definitely is. And then what makes it fun? So let's just talk about the ride of these. Is that they're super smooth, very, very smooth shoe to run in. Now, when I come down, I tend to come down on the lateral side of my foot. And I normally land right about at the metatarsal head. And these just feel so smooth and comfortable. When I land, I'm just kind of effortlessly flowing through my gait. Now, you're not getting a ton of energy return necessarily out of the midsole. It's not like a plated shoe or something like that. But that Flight Foam Blast Plus material does give you a little extra something back when you're running, when you're striking the ground, moving through your gait. So I do appreciate that. Just don't expect it to be your fast day shoe. So if you're out trying to do some speed work, you might want to pick up a different pair of shoes for that. But these do a really good job just logging those daily training miles very, very comfortably. And especially, like I said, for me, I noticed it mostly just when I'm landing up here right around that metatarsal head. So it would be, I'm going to say right at the start maybe of that 4D guidance system. So when I'm landing here and I'm flowing through, it just feels really, really smooth and just a lot of fun to run in. So along those lines, the Flight Foam Blast Plus material I didn't really notice any difference in the amount of cushion or the amount of energy return that I was getting from that hot weather or through that cold weather. So that is a huge plus, because that's not always the case. When I've run in other shoes with maybe an EVA foam midsole, they can sometimes lose a little bit of that cushion when in the cold weather, but these do not. The midsole is holding up really well in the winter months. So as a Michigander, I really appreciate that, definitely. Okay, so let's flip these over. Another piece before we look at the outsole of that stability features that the shoe has is the width. Look how wide these shoes are. I mean, they're wide up here at the start of the shoe all the way through to your heel. So that big wide landing platform just adds to this overall feeling of stability when you're running these. So they did a really good job there, in my opinion. And it's very reminiscent for me of shoes, like the Hoka lineup of shoes. And Hoka's pretty well known for having wide bases on their shoes as well. So Hoka-esque in the design of there. Oh, and another design feature is they have this nice heel bevel there. It's a little bit offset. But if you're a heel striker especially, that just adds to the smoothness of your transition as you strike the ground and move through to your toe off. All right, so let's flip these back over. And, they have a couple different types of rubber here on the bottom of the shoe. They've got their A-hard rubber, which is just their ASICS high abrasion rubber, a small patch of it in the heel. But again, that's where you're going to see signs of wear first. Especially if you're a heel striker. And then the rest of the shoe is covered in their hybrid ASICS grip outsole material. And if we take a real close look at that, you'd be hard pressed to see any real signs of wear after 100 miles on these shoes. So the outsole rubber is holding up really, really well. And I'm going to kick it out to myself and on the run, because I talked a little bit about that, or mentioned it when I was out running in these, just how well that hybrid ASICS grip did. So let's kick it out and hear what I had to say. Not a bad workout today. Pretty decent for a snowy, icy day today. I'll let the Amazon van go by. So one thing that is worth noting is that ASICS grip, that really works. That really works. Boy, it was shining. Had shining moments out on the wet pavement, and they were sticking to that like glue. Whew. All right, absolutely love it. Okay, I'm wrapping this one up for today. All right, so yes, so this is really, really sticky. You know what it reminded me of? That I think it's Vibram. I think that's how they pronounce it, that Hoka uses, that Vibram Mega Grip on their shoes. That's kind of what it sounds like. So if you run in any of the Hoka shoes that have that kind of a grip on the bottom of, or any other shoe, Hoka's not the only ones that use that Vibram Mega Grip outsole, but that's kind of what this reminds me of. It just really was sticking well to that pavement, so I never felt unsafe at all when I was out running in these. Super comfortable shoes to run in. Absolutely love them. Durability wise, over the last 100 miles, they're holding up really well. They feel as good today as they did when I first took them out of the box, in spite of the fact that it's a lot colder weather than I'm running in, so I'm impressed with that. I would definitely buy these again, and I will certainly put my 400, 500 plus miles on in these shoes without any trouble at all. These are a really good shoe to pick up, and I enjoy running them. Absolutely enjoy running them. Okay, so hey, I hope you got a little something out of this video. I think that it's worth the $165 that they're asking for them. And all right, guess that's it for today. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Run Tall.